some things are better left unsaid, even in old age. As we grow older, we come to understand a simple truth. Not everything needs to be spoken aloud. Some things, when shared, bring relief, but others, once spoken, can bring misunderstanding, unnecessary attention, or even hurt. There's a quiet wisdom that comes with age. After living through decades of life, we begin to value peace over pride, privacy over praise, and calm over chaos. That's why today, we're going to talk about 9 things you should keep to yourself in your later years. This isn't about hiding or being dishonest. It's about protecting your dignity, your peace of mind, and the simple joy of living on your own terms. Secret number 1, don't be too quick to share your exact age. You might laugh and say, "What's there to hide? I'm already past 70. But this isn't about vanity. It's about perception. The moment some people hear your age, their attitude subtly shifts. Suddenly they speak slower to you. They explain things like you've never used a phone before, or worse, they start treating you like you're no longer capable. But you know the truth. You're active, you're alert. You still dance, think, read, and live fully. So why let a number dictate how others treat you? Keeping your age to yourself gives you a quiet power. It protects you from being boxed into someone else's idea of what old looks like. Let them guess. Let your energy speak louder than your birth year. Secret number 2, keep your finances private. So how much is your pension? Did your kids buy you a house? Got any savings for travel? These may sound like casual questions, but very often they're not just small talk. They're quiet calculations. The more others know about your money, the more they might start making plans around it. Someone might borrow and never return it. Someone else might guilt you into giving more than you're comfortable with. And sadly, even family can begin to treat you differently once they think they know what's in your bank account. That's why financial matters should remain personal. Don't feel the need to explain or disclose what you have. Whether you're comfortable or struggling, your money is your business. You've earned it through years of work and sacrifice, not to be used, judged, or compared. Be generous when you choose, but be cautious about how much you reveal. Let me ask you something. Have you ever said too much and later regretted it? Was there a time you trusted someone with your truth, only to be hurt? If so, you're not alone. Share your experience in the comments. Let's learn from each other about the wisdom of saying less and the strength that comes with silence. Some stories are best kept quiet, especially when they live in the past. As we age, we realize something important. Not every truth needs to be told. Not because we're hiding anything, but because we've learned the difference between healing and reopening old wounds. Especially when it comes to family matters, those complicated histories, painful moments, or long-settled arguments, silence is sometimes the wisest choice. Secret number 3, not every family story needs to be told. You may have stories from years ago. Maybe a child made serious mistakes but later changed. Maybe you and your spouse had a crisis that nearly ended your marriage. Maybe someone in your family deeply hurt you at one point. You've survived it. You've moved forward. So should those stories still be spoken? Some elders find it comforting to share everything, to tell friends or even the younger generation about past drama, betrayals, or family conflicts. But we must ask ourselves, does sharing this actually help? Or does it create new problems? When we talk about old wounds too freely, people may begin to judge, misunderstand, or distance themselves. Even your own children might start seeing family members differently. What was once private becomes gossip. What you meant as honesty becomes someone else's discomfort. That's why many wise elders choose silence, not out of shame, but out of grace. You can express your past through writing, art, or quiet reflection. But not every story needs to be retold aloud. Some things are sacred because they've already been lived and learned from. Let them rest. Let them teach you privately, and let the present be lighter for it. Secret number 4, don't overshare your health problems. This one may feel tricky. You might say, but I'm not well. Shouldn't I talk about it? Of course, your health matters, and it's okay to share with the right people, at the right time, in the right way. But if every conversation begins with aches, pills, hospital visits, and fears about the future, people may slowly start to pull away. Not because they don't care, but because constant focus on illness can be emotionally draining. And for you, repeating health worries over and over can reinforce fear. You begin to feel worse, not better. That doesn't mean you should pretend everything is fine. It just means you should choose carefully who you speak to and how often. Doctors, absolutely. Close children or trusted friends, yes. But casual acquaintances, neighbors, or distant relatives don't always need the full report. And when speaking to your children, be careful with phrases like, "I don't think I'll be around much longer," or "You'd better prepare for when I'm gone." You may say this out of realism, but to them, it feels like emotional pressure. It creates fear, not connection. Try something softer, like, "I've been feeling a bit off lately. Maybe after I get better, we can take a walk together." This invites care, not worry. It helps your family be present with you, without being overwhelmed. Remember, the way you speak about your body shapes how others respond to it. True dignity isn't something we announce. It's something we quietly live. As we grow older, we begin to realize that peace, kindness, and self-respect matter more than attention, praise, or proving ourselves. Some topics, while important, are best approached with care, especially when they involve our personal life, our generosity, and our past accomplishments. Let's explore 3 more things that are better kept private in our later years, not out of shame, but out of wisdom. Secret number 5, don't boast about intimacy or sexuality. This topic is personal, but let's be honest, some older folks enjoy making bold statements like, "I'm still going strong, you know," or "I've still got it, even at my age." Sometimes it's said with pride. Other times, it's a way to avoid feeling invisible. But real intimacy, especially in old age, isn't something to perform or prove. It's not about physical ability alone. It's about connection, trust, laughter, and companionship. There's nothing wrong with having a loving relationship in your later years. In fact, it's beautiful. But it doesn't need to be discussed publicly. The more quietly you hold your private joys, the more they remain yours, and the more people respect both you and your relationships. Let your closeness live in your smiles, your shared moments, not in stories that invite judgment or gossip. Secret number 6, don't seek recognition for every good deed. Have you heard someone say, "I donated to the local school last month," or "I've been helping my neighbor for years now," or "They wouldn't even have that speaker system if it weren't for me"? Yes, giving is wonderful, but repeating your generosity too often may change how people perceive it. It may sound like you're giving to be praised, not because it's the right thing. And that's not how you truly feel, is it? When we give, especially as elders, it often comes from a deep place of love and service. So let that intention shine by letting your actions speak. The best acts of kindness are the ones done quietly, without expecting thanks or attention. Over time, those are the moments people remember, not because you told them, but because they felt it. Secret number 7, don't constantly bring up your past achievements. There's nothing wrong with being proud of your history. Maybe you served in the military, maybe you ran a successful business, maybe you were respected and admired at your job. These are important, and they shaped who you are. But if we constantly talk about what we used to be, we risk sounding like we've stopped growing. People respect you for who you are today, how you carry yourself, how you treat others, how you show wisdom and calm in everyday life. True dignity isn't about the titles we held, the money we made, or the praise we received. It's about how we live now, with grace, patience, and quiet strength. The best honor? Still having light in your heart, still smiling, still choosing kindness, even after everything you've been through. That's the legacy people remember. Some wounds don't need reopening. Some beliefs don't need defending. As we grow older, the stories behind our eyes deepen. We carry experiences that few people know about. And with that, we come to value silence, not as weakness, but as wisdom. There are moments when we could explain, confess, or complain, but instead we simply smile, breathe, let it go. That is the quiet strength of aging. Secret number 8, don't reopen old wounds just to be heard. We've all been hurt, betrayed, misunderstood. There are people who never apologized, moments we still remember clearly, while others moved on like nothing happened. You might still feel the sting when their names are mentioned. You might pause, swallow, sigh. But here's the truth. Revisiting that pain doesn't make it heal faster. It just keeps it alive. You don't need to bring up the past to prove what you endured. The people who hurt you may never admit what they did. They may never understand, but that's no longer your burden to carry. Your strength lies in this. You survived. You kept going. And now, you choose peace over proving a point. Let silence be your closure. You're not forgetting, you're freeing yourself. Secret number 9, your values don't need to be explained. You're too stubborn. You don't fit in. You're stuck in the past. Sound familiar? What others call stubbornness may actually be your principles. What they see as outdated might be the lessons life taught you. Through hardship, through love, through living fully. You believe in what you believe for a reason. Maybe it's your faith, maybe it's your discipline, maybe it's your decision to live simply, speak less, or say no more often. Whatever it is, you don't owe anyone an explanation. People may challenge you, but they don't see what you've endured. They don't know how far you've come. So instead of justifying your choices, just live them. Quietly, proudly, authentically. Let your peace speak louder than your words. Final reflections and call to action. And now, dear friend, we've reached the end of this journey. Let's remember the 9 things to keep private in old age. Your age and finances, past family pain, your health struggles, intimate relationships, your acts of kindness, past achievements, old wounds, deep beliefs, and above all, your quiet dignity. This is not about hiding. It's about protecting, not about being cold. It's about being calm, not about silence for silence's sake, but silence that brings strength. In your later years, may you find comfort not just in being understood, but in knowing yourself fully. If today's message touched you, leave a comment below. Tell us which secret resonated with you most, or simply type, "I choose peace," to remind yourself of your quiet power. Like this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Because sometimes, the most powerful words are the ones we choose not to say. Thank you for being here. You're not alone, and you never were.